Welcome into the Bite Meat podcast. Have a familiar face here. Haven't talked to her in a little bit. And we're going to hit some very interesting topics today. And that would be Sloan Rinaldi. You know her from Food Network, Netflix, et cetera, et cetera. And we're going to dig
Yes.
into the Texas barbecue, Texas Q to be more exact.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
So
Right.
yeah, to be more
And
exact,
that's Q for barbecue. I always tell people that now to clarify Q for barbecue.
Q for
What are you gonna
barbecue.
do, man? Right? What are you gonna
she
do?
is she is an awesome person. She's an awesome pitmaster. She has some awesome stuff coming up here real shortly that we'll get into. But here I am. I'm in Houston, Texas. You're in Houston, Texas. I
Yes,
lived in
sir.
your neck of the woods for 20 years up in the Kingwood area,
All right.
and I spend a lot of my time talking to pitmasters all over the world. We've got one
Yeah.
coming up from Hawaii. One we've had
Oh wow.
pitmasters from Australia. All the ones
That's
from
fantastic.
up and down the Texas coast and everything else. I mean the coast and everything else. And
Right?
I'm like, hey man, let's talk Texas because
All
Texas
right.
let's talk Texas because Texas is taking over
Yes.
the world, and
It really has.
there's an infatuation with it, and that's where I want
Yes.
to start with you, Sloan.
Yes, sir.
Texas barbecue is one of those things that people just are enamored with, and you're living it. Just kind of take us through the whole fascination.
No, yes, sir. And as we preface this conversation, I've been saying this for 10 years, the last decade, if not more now, actually. And we talked about that last time that we actually sat down and spoke. So I think that it has definitely proven to be more fact than just my opinion. So after the show drops the 4th of July, so it's really been a year. It's actually been 1 year that the Barbecue Showdown season 3 dropped.
Hmm.
And from that show, man, thousands, and I mean thousands of people would DM me about two things. Okay. One was about the sense of humanity, kindness, how we treated each other, that there was more that unites us than divides us. That was a common element about
Hmm.
treating people the way you want to be treated. In every single message, I got that same theme. But then also, it was about this obsession with all things Texas, but specifically Texas barbecue.
Yeah.
And in a way that from South Africa, from an old woman my age, in their 60s in South Africa, with and I forget now what they actually, you may know the term that they use for it, but telling me what she was doing based on having seen me on Barbecue Showdown, that it made her want to go back and reconnect with her tradition and roots in live fire cooking, right?
Okay. Okay.
So it is so inspirational. Just that connection, I found that. And if you think about this, John, okay, and you may
Hmm.
have already, that from the beginning of time, right, the single thing that transcends every culture throughout history, right, is live fire cooking. It is
Yes.
the common denominator, you
Hmm.
know? So
It,
within that, what is that? That's just it's a uniter. It's a uniter. And you're always smoking or cooking live fire for your friends, family, and community.
hmm.
Rarely are you outside cooking only for yourself,
Right.
regardless,
Right.
right? So it is always specifically friends, family, community. It is the common denominator that unites us all. That's what
Yeah.
I have found,
No,
and that
it
all
absolutely.
inspires me.
Absolutely is. In fact, not to bring things down because we're going to
Right.
circle back to something you just said, but I've
Yes,
been
sir.
so inspired. You have a lot of friends. I have a lot of friends that immediately dropped everything and went to the hill
Yes.
country. And you know what they're
Yes.
doing over there? They're
Yeah.
cooking.
They're
They're they're
cooking.
they're they're,
They're
they're
doing what we do.
cooking.
We feed people. That's how we
Yeah,
show our love.
yeah,
And it's not usually a monetary thing. It's always going to be a food thing. You know,
hmm.
and it's always going to be about comforting people with food.
Hmm.
Or showing people because it's there in the good times and the bad times, regardless. Right? You're celebrating or you're mourning, you're grieving, you're assisting in some way, and it's always going to be about food. But that's what our people are out there doing right now. There's so many guys in the barbecue community, guys and gals, girls that are out there on the ground right now, from Ronnie Killen to Ross. I mean, everybody's out there. And
Yeah,
thank God for them. Thank God for them that they have the equipment, the time, and the money to be out there, and the help. Everyone wants the help right now.
yeah.
So it just God bless them. I was talking with Con earlier. To be honest with you, I have spent my entire life in this area, in that area. Growing
Hmm.
up,
Oh,
I have
really?
gone there. Yeah, since I was 5 years old. My first trip, as a matter of fact, was with my dad, my mom, and my little brother. So I was like 6. He was like maybe 4, right? No,
Hmm.
2. We're 4 years apart. He was 2. So we camped in a Volkswagen van at Oktoberfest,
Oh,
right? So
Lord.
it's a VW van at Oktoberfest, the first one. So this has to be like 1973-ish, maybe, I guess. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, maybe earlier than that even. And we parked on that river, and it came up in the middle of the night out of
Mhm.
nowhere.
Oh, it
And
did?
I remember, yes, it was terrifying, absolutely terrifying. And so I just, in thinking of that experience just itself, and then to think of all those people and the children, I have almost not been able to bear it. It's been like a 9/11 effect, to be honest with
Mm,
you.
mhm. No,
You
it's
know,
been crazy to watch. I did see Ronnie down there. I saw Sunny
yes,
Lynn, with,
yes,
Operation Barbecue, with the I don't know
yes,
if she's there per se, but the Operation Barbecue's down there.
yes,
So
they are.
it is something that's, worth mentioning here, but getting back to why we
Yes,
wanted to speak with you today,
yes,
the
sir.
fascination with, Texas barbecue, it always comes back down to brisket, and we're not gonna talk today
Yes,
about how you do your brisket and all that.
right,
I wanna talk
right.
about we've done that. I wanna talk about why it is such uh, it's sort of a
The
gathering
brisket
point.
effect.
It's the brisket effect. You put it better than I did. Like that is what people sort of gauge themselves on and
Yeah,
gauge Texas barbecue on, correct?
that is absolutely right. Absolutely right. And it's almost a touchstone. It's something that's almost spiritual, obviously, in barbecue, that is a level of excellence that you're hoping to achieve, right? And delivering the most mouth-watering, succulent bite of brisket. That's
Mhm.
really what it's all about. And people have a certain expectation, especially now globally. They have this absolute fascination, love for it that is almost more than even a Texan has for brisket.
Mhm.
Because it's not something they've ever had before. And
Right.
it's just now becoming something that they've had access to. Say somebody in England pops up, like, I think his last name is Tunsley, and as a young kid, like in his 30s, he decided he wanted to do Texas craft barbecue. So he
Mhm.
started maybe 2 years ago. Man, he has totally perfected it. He's killing it. His pop-up sell out. There's people in Britain line up in the cold, rainy weather. It doesn't depend. I mean, the hillside along the river,
Yeah.
it does not matter. They're lining up to buy whatever he is selling, right?
Yeah.
Because it's Texas barbecue. And it's just incredible. But when it comes down to it, though, is that they're all trying to perfect brisket. It is a brisket effect. So every person, the first thing they ask or talk about, especially when they message, they want to know about brisket. And every
Mhm.
message is, how do you do it? Obviously the winning process, but it's also more about um, them wanting to be able to, I guess, accomplish something related to brisket that makes them feel, that they've really done something in barbecue, whether it's in the
Yeah.
backyard or wherever. But
Yeah.
there's a love for it that's almost unlike any other meat ever in barbecue, man. It's not even like it's part of barbecue. It is just like an obsession.
Well,
It's more
and
artistic.
yeah, and I've
Yeah,
been fortunate enough to travel all over the world, with my day job, and I feel
yeah,
that over the decades, like, you tell someone, "Oh, I'm from Texas," and their eyes
yes,
light up. And there's a certain
yes.
romanticism with
I'm
the
sure.
culture and horses and
Yeah,
cowboys and
yes.
barbecue and all that.
My
We had
agent, man, he's
Go
like
ahead.
that. He travels all over the world. He says, "Don't tell people," or he always advises, "Don't tell people you're an American. Just tell them you're from Texas." And you
Yeah,
see the difference in how people, and it's very true. I've seen it. I've seen it
yeah,
in how people react. My wife just went to Europe, and it's what we told her to do. And it's a
mhm.
total night and day of how
Yes,
they treated her. But until I said, "Colin, stop telling them you're from the States. This is you're a Texan," and they will
yeah,
treat you. They will just like, "Oh my God!" And it
yeah,
is that whole love and going back to Giant, the movie Giant with Elizabeth Taylor, and Rod Hudson, that fantasy of what Texas is actually does exist. Yes, we're far
mm,
more than that, obviously. We're much more diversified economy and whatnot. But that quintessential essence of Texas does exist. And
yeah.
people are fascinated with it. Now, no, we don't all have horses, but a good many of us do. All of us know how to ride, for the most part. Yes, we all have guns. It doesn't matter what political party, we're all packing, that's for sure. We're Texans. And
Yeah,
bottom line, we were a country before we were a state, and there's no one else that can say that. So
yeah,
there's heritage wise, there's that comes with you, that
mhm,
that this is a special place. We have
yeah,
a heart, obviously. What we're experiencing right now is evident of that,
yeah,
that
yeah,
we have a sense of a way of coming together, almost like nowhere I've ever seen. And yes, other states do have that, but in Texas, man, your neighbor is the first person you're going to go to and ask what you can do.
yeah,
Literally. I mean, you don't,
yeah,
nothing happens that you don't ask them, what can I do for you? Or you just start doing it. You really don't even ask in Texas. You just do it. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. It's
So
funny
anyway,
because
I
we
digress.
had we no, it's good, it's fun. We had Jess Pryles on the show a while back, and she's
Oh yeah.
Australian,
Oh my
and
gosh,
and
yes. I
and
bet she
she
wishes she was born here, huh?
she literally moved to the Austin area because she was obsessed with it, and then that's over the
Yeah,
top, of
yeah,
course, but
yeah.
that illustrates it.
But that's what
You
Cream
talk.
did. Cream comes to visit,
Mhm.
and they take him to Rudy's. Rudy's was his first brisket, man,
Yeah,
and that hooked him. So it was
yeah.
like, oh my God. So he gives up a banking life, financial life in Cairo, and
Mhm.
comes here. And look at him, man. He's got a freaking big gourmand, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay. You got the big gourmand. And if I'm not mistaken, ooh, James Beard possibly nomination?
I think he was nominated. I don't know. Maybe he won. I don't know. But you're talking about
He got the big
from.
gourmand,
He
from
did get
Michelin,
that.
though.
He did get. You're
Yes, he
talking
did. Absolutely. Oh,
just for
top
those who don't.
50. He's the top 50.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Yes,
And
yes,
just for those who don't know, Kareem is was your cohort on the Netflix show.
yes. Netflix
And-
KG Barbecue in Austin. They have a trailer.
yeah.
I'm sure they're gonna be moving into the Associated Brewery, I think.
Hmm.
But I mean, they're killing it every day. Absolutely.
Yeah. No, and that's where we wanted to talk about today. So let's get into a
Yeah.
little bit more of what you're doing.
Yes, sir.
And okay, so let me tell our listeners how this second visit with you showed up, because you ever, when you
Yes.
were a kid or you're a teenager in college or whatever, and you see some commotion over there at some club or in some area, so tailgating, whatever, and you're like, I don't know what that is, but I want to go see that. It just kind of draws you in. You
That's
posted a
funny,
couple
man.
of things. You
Yeah.
posted a couple of things on your social media, which, by the way, I hope people follow you on Facebook and
Awesome. Thank you.
Instagram, etc. And that's what I was feeling. I was like, I don't know what she's up to, but I kind of want to see it. I kind of want to
She's
know
kind
what
of
it is.
weird. That's
she's
kind of
up
weird.
to
What's going on over there, man?
she's up to
Yeah.
something. It's kind of
Yeah.
drawing me in.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
without giving away too many details, because you can't just yet, you do
Yes,
have
sir.
a big project with Texas Q coming up.
Yes, absolutely. And it's really not so much Texas Q as it is Sloan. Okay.
Yes,
But it's
yes,
about Texas barbecue,
yeah.
It is definitely it's gonna be a really exciting project. I'm
Hmm.
just can tell you that it's gonna be a streaming project. Okay.
Hmm.
First season we're looking for 9 episodes. Okay.
Terrific.
If we have to do 8, we're gonna probably try to pack that in. But it's I'll tell you this, it's 8 countries, 3 continents, and 9 episodes.
Oh my
And
goodness.
working with a producer that I worked with previously from Barbecue Showdown at Netflix. Very
Hmm.
successful producer, as a matter of fact. She's working 2 pre-production shows right now, and just had a series drop on NBC. You may be familiar with. It's streaming on Peacock, called Destination X.
Oh
Comes on
yeah.
Tuesdays.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
Tuesdays at 9 Central. It's a hit. It's a
Mhm.
hit. It is a global travel show as well. So
Okay.
she's deeply rooted into Europe right now, although she
Yeah.
is in LA working on pre-production on 2 other shows. She has done everything from America's Got Talent to Destination X and Barbecue
Mhm.
Showdown and everything in between. She's very prolific and proficient, and she is our showrunner. So it's gonna be a great show. I guess I could say this, that it is Texas based. We are
Mhm.
bringing Texas to the world,
Yeah.
and we're going to experience and find out, not just bringing Texas to the world, but for the first time at 61, I'm traveling outside of the United States. So,
That's
and
awesome.
that in itself, I'm so excited about that. I have studied and read about and watched these, all the places that I'm going, these countries that I'm going into, and they absolutely all fascinate me. The common
Mhm.
denominator that we all have, across all cultures, is live fire cooking since the beginning of time. And I think that it unites us all. I
Yeah.
think, as I said before, we are all out there, cooking together for friends, family, and community. We're never around a pit or a grill solely for ourselves.
Yeah.
Rarely is that happening. So it really is a unifier. And in this time, and what's going on in the world right now, we really want to show how people are more united by the things that are very common. Family, friends, community, cooking together, talking about the recipes that we've handed down for centuries or decades, or family members that we cooked with in the past that are gone, and the memories that those generate. And then diving into all those cultures, like whether it's a Wagyu farm and a ranch in Japan, or a Black Angus ranch in Aberdeen, down
Mhm.
to, the hogs in Spain, Berco hogs in Spain. And I mean, just and all that goes into that, the local farmers and ranchers and artisans and chefs, and the people that live in the community, and what that culture is like. And then again, the common denominator being live fire cooking,
Yeah.
barbecue, man. It's just amazing. And it just came to me one night. All this has been a gift from God, John. I'm going to tell you that right
Yeah.
now. The whole
Yeah.
thing has been all by the grace of God. I mean, from the moment that I decided I want to wanted to cook barbecue, having never really done it, although my
Hmm.
family had done it for generations,
Yeah.
to creating the sauce and visualizing that it should be an HEB. And then from that moment, deciding I wanted to have a multimedia culinary based company. This was the end game, right? More
Hmm.
or less, we're
Hmm.
getting into that portion of it. And being able to cook at the level that I did and for it to get the recognition it did.
Hmm.
You can't ever just walk in and say, "Hey, I'm good at barbecue. I'm fourth generation. I'm good at barbecue. Take my word for it," right? No,
Yeah.
I had to for 10 years. I did the grind. I
Yeah.
smoked everything. I cooked every side, every dessert, every stick of wood that went on my pit. I put it on there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So having done that, it was well worth the effort to be able to be in the position I am now and to have met the people and the doors that have opened, the relationships that have been built. You know as well as I do, barbecue is a very familial,
Hmm.
group. It's like family. Just recently, Leo Vitello, he let us film at his place.
Oh yeah.
After hours. Yeah, man, after hours on
He's
in the
been on
Heights
the show too.
location.
He's a great dude. I need to get him back on. But go
Oh
ahead.
my God. Yeah, you do. Look at what's happened to him in that model, man. So he's got that place plus the kiosk at NRG, obviously. And I don't know, you know that, right?
Yeah.
And then the Brenham location, but he's doing a lot more than that that's under the radar that has helped out a couple of families in barbecue. And I don't want to say too much, but if it hadn't been for him, they may not be there.
Hmm.
And those are stories for him to tell, but it is quite remarkable. And he may not be, he's that guy. He's not going to be out there tooting his own horn or saying, "Hey, I did this or that."
Yeah.
But bottom
Yeah.
line, he's done some remarkable and very kind things, and he's very generous. And just we're so lucky to have him in our community.
And you mentioned you're traveling the world for really the first time. I know you've
The very
traveled all
first
over the
time,
country.
yes, sir.
And so again, not to give away anything, but I feel
Sure,
the connection is going to be bringing this to the world, bringing what we do, what you do, and what
yes,
I
sir.
do at a much lower level than you do to the
Yes, sir.
world. The
Yes,
possibilities seem endless, and certainly
yeah,
it's going to be eye opening. I'm sure you're really looking forward to sort of
yes, sir.
grasping all the different meats and the different people and the different
Yes,
cultures and
sir.
different
Yes, sir.
ways to
Yes,
cook
sir.
these meats. Correct?
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about, learning from the hands that created these processes, that we have been around for decades, generations, centuries, and
Hmm.
really in Japan, it's centuries and centuries and centuries. All over in Europe, it's all centuries. Here, we don't have that many centuries. So for them, it's
Maybe
like it could
two,
be, yeah,
maybe
a
one,
thousand years,
maybe one.
2,000 years, whatever, right? So it's the process, that English kitchens had hearthside cooking long into the 20th century. You know,
Hmm.
Italian kitchens, hearthside cooking, well into the 20th century. I mean, it was long before they weren't live fire cooking in their actual inside home.
Yeah,
Where they were
yeah.
using other apparatus and whatnot. So it's something that they are more versed in than even we are, at
Hmm.
this point. But Texas barbecue incorporates so many different processes and methods now. Um, whether it is in a pit or like a dug in pit in the ground, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
A offset smoker, SATA type grill, or a center, whatever it is, live fire is just, there's so many different apparatus at this point that are really um, traditional. They have been there for centuries. We are new, I think, to picking them up, but
Hmm.
obviously in Europe, it's been something, those are things and implements that they've used forever. And they're really very basic, from putting a still steak through something and leaning it up against the fire.
Right, right.
This is really, it can be, it's just so much a part of everyone's history,
Hmm.
and it's always a part of their community. It's always a part of their family, and those stories are just, oh my God, they're incredible.
Yeah. Can
Incredible.
you give
Can't
us some
wait.
sort of? Can you give it? If you can't, just say so. Some sort of
Yes, sir.
indication when this might drop.
Okay, so it would be 27. I think is the earliest I can see the summer of 27 hitting
Okay.
the actual screen. We hope to be filming by spring of
Okay.
next 26, right?
Yeah.
We'll film. I can tell you this: we want to jump off and go to Japan first.
Okay.
Okay. So that for me is going to be a major undertaking. I'll definitely want to be there at peak time for the cherry blossoms, right?
Oh yeah.
So that what we most likely will do, we'll be there and then come back here before taking off to Europe. And then we'll be in Europe for like 2 months straight. But we want to get past
Wow.
that rainy season. I really want to
That
get
is.
past all the rain. Obviously it's going to rain some, but you know how
Yeah.
it is. They say wait for summer.
Yeah.
So we're waiting for summer. So the
That is
Food
awesome.
Valley in Italy, we're going to be in Germany, we're going to be in France. I don't mind telling you the countries we're going to be in. So it's going to be Japan, Scotland, England, UK, and I've got, and specifically it's going to be the Oxford area in England, Aberdeen area in Scotland, and then Italy, France, Germany, Spain, Argentina is a wrap. We come back here for a big thing in
Hmm.
Texas. Okay.
Oh man, you're just speaking my language here. I have been
And
to
we'll
all.
definitely, you'll be on the list. Okay. I'll get you on the list, man,
you
for that
you
shot. Okay. For that
you are
shoot, you'll be
speaking
on the list.
those big spetos in Argentina. You talk about live fire
Yes.
cooking.
Yes, sir.
Oh my God, those spits with
It's
the
going to be
meat on it.
amazing.
It's just absolutely incredible. But here's the other thing.
Yeah.
I'm guessing a lot of people are going to learn a lot of things from you, especially about Texas barbecue. You're going to be
Yes, sir.
learning too. I'm
Oh my
guessing you're
God,
going to be
that's
learning
exactly
too, right?
right. Yes, we're going to be trading information. I mean, it's the
Yeah.
exchange of informations and styles and processes. Every episode, we'll be doing a brisket with them. Bottom line,
Hmm.
we'll be doing a
Yeah.
Texas brisket. But we want to be able to not only cook their style and some Texas style, but we want to create something together as well, as kind of what I'm thinking. And obviously, Houston is very representative of that exact thing. Is that fusion barbecue? And I keep telling everybody, Houston should be the capital of Texas barbecue now.
Yeah.
Where else in the world, anywhere in the world, are they doing with barbecue what Houston food scene is doing?
Hmm.
So, and it's so diversified, and there's so many cultures involved. So, I think this definitely plays into that whole experience. It's just so incredible. So, we want to make sure that each location that we're creating something original together. Based
And
on
it's
their region and ours. Go ahead.
it's really funny you mentioned that because I had this conversation on this show and I forget with who. It might have been Dan Gertzikoff from the Big Green Egg, because
Okay.
he had a great line, by the way. I think it was him. He said, "You're never alone when you're with a fire," and I
No
love that line.
doubt. That's
You're never
perfect. That's
alone when
totally
you're with a
apropos. I
fire.
may have to steal that. I need to be able to get his
Yeah.
information, contact, and let him know I want to steal that. So that's exactly right.
Yeah.
So it goes along with my feeling of, it's always friends, family, and community. You are never, ever, ever out there at the pit by yourself, cooking
Yeah.
for yourself. So it's
Yeah.
always about other people. And he's exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right. I love that. I
But
love that.
anyway, in that conversation with him, it wasn't that long ago, maybe less than a decade, 2 decades, where when you talk about Texas barbecue, people would
Hmm.
say, Luling or Austin or whatever.
Not block fire.
Now they're saying
Yeah,
Houston. Now they're saying
exactly.
Houston. Why is that? I'm sure obviously great pitmasters, but it just
Okay.
seems like it's all melded together.
I think it's been a 13-year journey for the most part, from the moment Killen had a line. Okay, Ronnie Killen, right?
Yeah.
And it hit the news that he had a line at his place.
Mhm.
So that I think that is the beginning of Houston's barbecue scene, right there, at the
Yeah.
craft barbecue scene, as far as I'm
Mhm.
concerned.
Yeah.
Obviously, there is a old school barbecue scene that is incredibly rich and very well established, and is definitely a reason for it. Oops,
Mhm.
I'm sorry, I'm going to lose you right there.
That's all right.
But it was Killen that started this. So from there to what it is now, and then to be able to say that we have the first barbecue joints in the world that have Michelin star, corkscrew. I
Mhm.
mean, to me, that was like it came out of nowhere. I mean, not nowhere. I mean, they put in the work, but it was just like
Yeah.
Texas did do the work also to get the Michelin here.
Mhm.
And then for to be awarded barbecue joints in Houston and Austin to be the first in the world awarded Michelin. Obviously, that does a lot for Houston's barbecue scene. And
Yeah.
then and that's just more recent. So between Killen and now, it's just been an onset of people that have a commitment to achieving a level of excellence in every aspect of barbecue. From the
Yeah.
meats, obviously, I think that's something we all, everyone is striving for excellence in. But then it's other things. It's the sides and the desserts, right? So
Yep.
it's all next level. It's a complete thing. We're not keeping anything out like they do in, say, Memphis and Kansas City. We're not only doing pork; we do it all. Okay,
Right. I
so
think that's
that's
key.
what makes it different. Yes,
I think you're 100% right. Like Fegis up I-10,
yes,
they
whole
have done
hog.
such a good job with the whole hog
Pinkerton. Oh
and
my
the
God,
side.
he's winning whole hog now, isn't he? At Memphis in
He
May.
plays and he's yeah, he was in Memphis in May. You got
Oh my
Pinkerton,
gosh.
Leonard, Fegis,
Yeah. Yeah.
Corkscrew, yourself,
Yeah. It's a
obviously
craft, man. It's
Ronnie.
awesome. Yes, sir.
And to me that speaks to the community of barbecue in Houston. You talked earlier about, you don't have to ask, you just do, and it's your neighbor. There's
That's
not that
right.
bitter competition. It's not a bitter
No.
competition here by any stretch, right?
No, no. I think John Brotherton, God bless his soul, really, set the standard for you help your brother out, you extend a hand, right?
Mhm.
And just a wealth of information. Each of us, anyone that would send a DM or a text and ask, what is your process on pastrami? You know,
Yeah.
Blake Stoker, who learned from John, sends it to me. Who else needs it? I'll send it to you. I mean, talking to John about, food costs. What do you think we should do on a three meat plate? He says, you got to figure it all brisket. What if somebody ordered three, all brisket? That's the way
Yeah.
you have to price it. So those things, we share with each other. You don't find it a lot because I was in commercial construction, for
Yeah.
32 years, right?
Yeah.
We didn't share with each other,
No. No.
information, pricing,
Right.
vendors, anything, right?
Right. Right.
So it's just it's a different thing. So yes, that
Hmm.
is Houston is it just we're just different, man, in Houston,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
We're a big city in the South that's almost like a small town, you
Yeah.
know?
No, I totally agree.
Mhm.
That's really, really good stuff. I do want to remind everybody right now because I forgot to do it. I got so right into the show here that it's brought to you every week by Texas Star Grill Shop, which, by the way, is a big advocate of all these places, and they all shop there.
Yes. God
Uh,
bless Texas Girls
yeah,
Shop. No doubt, man.
Rick Martin
God
and
bless them.
Michelle and all those. So I want to
Yeah.
mention that, and then I want to get into you personally because I mentioned earlier. I'm fascinated. I think it was before we went on air. I'm fascinated with all your posts and the way you live your life unapologetic. You do your thing. Even getting into barbecue was doing your own thing, coming out of the construction industry
Yes,
and
sir.
doing that. Where do you think that comes from? Like you just, unapologetically you and unapologetically, or unfearingly, doing your own thing.
Oh, that's all I get from God. It's just a gift from God. I really believe that from the moment that I can remember, my earliest memories were just, hell bent on doing something,
Hmm.
and being who I was. I always felt a very strong sense of being different than the other little boys and girls around me. I'll just be
Hmm.
honest, and there would be teachers along the way, and God bless them, because I came from a very, I don't know if we talked about this, very dysfunctional childhood. My mom was chronic alcoholic, drug addict, and very mentally ill, right?
Hmm.
So I was in a lot of different schools all the time, always having to make new friends, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So typically it was the black kids who would embrace me, number
Hmm.
one, who
Hmm.
would accept me. And I was just different. I would perm my hair so it was curly. I had big lips and almond shaped eyes. So kids didn't know, like what is
What
this?
are you?
Who are you?
What?
What are you? Exactly. Is what are you? So it was, and then I heavily identified with the Holocaust. So I got a Star of David, Mother of Pearl. I would wear it for years. It was just like
Mhm.
I was obsessed with that whole era and how that could happen, and it could never happen again. That was always ingrained in me from early childhood. At 10, I'm like the only one in my neighborhood watching the Watergate hearings. And it just went from there. It was just like really crazy. I was watching. My first favorite movie was a 1951 movie, Place in the Sun, with Elizabeth Taylor and Montgomery Cliff. And
Mhm.
again, I'm like 8 or 9 when I find that movie, and then I realized I wanted to be a director.
Mhm.
George Stevens had directed that movie, and he also directed Giant. So it was just I just knew that God had put in me something that was drive. Okay, it consisted of drive. I had a
Mhm.
curiosity. I felt that I knew that I'd have to educate myself, so I did that. I read everything. I was a voracious reader, whether it was about MacArthur or about Elizabeth Taylor. I mean, to be honest with you, I just ran the gamut really,
Mhm.
and so I felt that I had just a wide range of information. Always had that going for me, and then just the internal strength, I think that God said, okay, I know you've been born into this situation. I feel like for me, and I'll be honest with you, my life as a kid was in danger like all the time.
Oh
Okay.
man.
Yeah, it was really, it's very horrific. It wasn't common then as it is now.
Mhm.
Kids now, man, it's just like, oh my God. And that's who I really want ultimately be able to help and
Yeah.
reach out to those kids, but so God always took care of me in a very special way. So in that, I've always felt that um my greatest gift was my mind,
Mhm.
because I had to disassociate from my environment. And in my head, I created who I wanted to be.
Right.
Okay. And so, by the grace of God, I could say pretty much that today I am who I wanted to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've created my own sense of security. I have my own home. I mean, I do things, I set projects out for myself with goals in mind. I visualize it and I achieve those things,
Yeah.
and it, again, it is all by the grace of God. So I would say that my greatest gift is definitely God gave me was my mind, by
Mhm.
far. So as a person, I feel that there is nothing I cannot do, right? By the grace of God. I always say that thing. I say that always, right?
Mhm.
I feel that um, if I set my mind to it, I'm going to do it. If you can see it, you can be it. So for kids that come from places like I did, I very much want to be able to say to them that who you see in your mind, because I know they have to disassociate, right? Who
Hmm.
you see in your mind, that, fantasy, that visualization, that is who you will be. That is who
Yeah.
you can be. You are not your environment. You are not your parents. You're not your family. You can be what you see, right? So I hope to be an example to some kid that can see. Even, it took me um, 60 years. I mean, at 10, I was in the bathroom, pretending to be interviewed by Barbara Walters. All right. And so from 10 till 61 or 60, whatever it's been since, that's even a little bit earlier than that, in my late 50s. It took my late 50s basically to be able to start working in media and be
Hmm.
able to talk with people and maybe have an outlet to reach those kids.
Hmm.
So it's just been an amazing ride, man.
Man, God
Absolutely.
bless you. God bless you,
Oh,
because that
thank
I
you.
think I think it shows in every aspect of your life, and to bring this full circle before I let you go,
Yes,
it
sir.
shows in what you're doing now, and and
Bless your
and, and
heart.
I feel like that's a strong testament, for lack of a better way of putting it, uh, that not only can you be who you are, but that person can change other people and affect other
That's right.
people,
That's right.
and
That's
so
right.
that's what's really driving you now, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. That I have the opportunity to, for some little girl or a little boy to be in a situation right now that their life may be in danger on a
Hmm.
daily basis. You don't know, they're surrounded by drug addicts or, criminal parents. You don't know what's going on. Right. But if they can look and say, oh man, they hear my story and say, oh my God, man, it is
Hmm.
going to be all right. It can be all right. I can just, look in my mind, find that and do that. That's the deal. You have to do it. You do the footwork, you ask God, and then you do the footwork. And there's no failure. It's all experience.
And the good thing for all the rest of us is we get to benefit from not just your knowledge and the show you're about to do, the shows you've done, but also Texas Q. Don't want to let you go without talking about some of the things that you've got going. Where is it? What's the latest with
Yes,
that?
Texas Q. So really pretty much I am not doing the trailer and I don't anticipate opening a joint. I
Hmm.
really feel moved into more a different direction where I can reach more people, but I will continue to do catering and we'll do special orders, obviously on all the holidays. And if you
Hmm.
have a special birthday coming up and it's not full size catering, but it meets a minimum, get with us, texasq.com. Instagram, most people are following me, Sloan Rinaldi. Also, Texas Q has a page on Instagram and Facebook, but we're really texasq.com. There's info page, everything we're doing, all our menu, everything's there. We still want to cook for people, just don't want to do it the way we were doing it previously. I am 61, had both hips replaced, both knees,
Yeah.
and I'm really looking forward to more of the media experience. But I do want to cook for, especially our base, our
Hmm.
Kingwood people and throughout Houston and the surrounding area that count on it, especially for the holidays. So
And you still do cook a lot, but I'm sure you're doing
yeah,
a lot of experimenting, testing, that
yes,
type of stuff,
absolutely.
right? Yeah.
Absolutely. I feel that right now is like the first couple of weeks I haven't cooked in a while, and I needed that. I needed a break because we went through some killer holidays, man. It was,
Yeah.
especially after the show dropped. I mean, it
Hmm.
started, I think our holiday season started in October and it seems to just now have wrapped up. So,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
been a big ride and more than we've ever done. And again, I cook everything. So I'm doing all the, everything. And it's a lot at this point,
And by
and I
everything, you
made it
mean
through this season.
everything. Every
Everything, every last
everything.
meat, side, dessert, pickle, onion, whatever it is, I'm making it,
Oh, by the
and I
way,
love that. I love that.
you posted something. This is what kind of got my attention. You were looking
Yes,
for
sir.
some people to come out and for an event you were
Yes.
doing. What
Yes,
was
we were
that
looking
about?
for extras. We were looking
Yeah.
for extras. Yeah,
Hmm.
it was for the studio to replicate what our final episode will look like. Right?
Okay. Okay.
We wanted a big diverse crowd, and we created a quintessential Texas barbecue.
There we go.
It was a blast. It was a blast.
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun. People won't see that. You guys won't see it. It goes to the network, but
Yeah.
it was so fun to have so many people come out. I didn't really know many of them. I had a few family friends out, that sort of thing.
Hmm.
But it was just a large group of people that follow us on Instagram, and they were so excited to be there, and I was so excited to cook for them. It was really fun.
That's awesome. Well,
Yes, sir.
Sloan, I'm a big fan, and I'm always gonna be here for whatever you
Hey,
need.
I'm here
So
for
just
you, John, and
yeah.
literally, you will be on the list. We'll get you on this. You're gonna shoot with us our final episode. Let's put it that way.
Hell yeah.
Okay, absolutely. I
That's
love
called
working with talking with you, John. You're an awesome guy,
that's
and
called a perk
I
right
appreciate
there.
you. I
That's
appreciate
called
it.
a perk. That's called
Yeah, whatever, man. You're the perk for me. Okay,
I
bottom
will
line.
I can tell you right now, I don't know when it is, but I will be there. All right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Really appreciate it. That's Sloan Rinaldi, you guys. We really appreciate her joining us here. You guys Don't forget to that Texas Star Grill Shop brings us this episode. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcast, anywhere from Podbean to iTunes to Spotify and everywhere in between. You guys have a great week, great weekend. Smoke it up. We will talk to
there
you
you go.
next time.
Thank you.
Perfect.